diabetes is a known health risk among the Native American population. In Winnebago, the Public Health Department has added a new screening to help treat the diagnosis.
KTIV's Taylor Decker tells us how rural areas are getting help with the new screening process. That's tonight's Healthbeat 4.
Winnebago Public Health has a new specialized camera that, with the collaboration of optometrists at Phoenix Indian Medical Center, this treats diabetic patients with a new eye care screening.
We're interested in the condition of the small blood vessels in the back of their eye, have images taken of their retina. Specialists, doctors review and analyze and interpret the results of the imaging.
Jocelyn Vision Network is a program of the Indian Health Service that allows sites like Winnebago, Nebraska, where Native Americans come for diabetic care to have their retina examined. The goal being that this might help save the vision of those who are also diabetic.
Well, we call the eye the window to be able to literally put eyes on these blood vessels.
The blood vessels that are examined are similar to the rest of the vessels in the body. Type 2 diabetes is very prevalent in Native American populations. According to the American Diabetes Association, American Indians and Alaskan Natives are most likely to be diagnosed with diabetes.
Here are focused on prevention at all levels, primary prevention, and then secondary prevention is like where I work in the actual treatment and care of people with diabetes, and then also in the reducing the risks of ongoing complications of diabetes.
Right now, they've done around 70 of these screenings, now ready to help examine more.
Had some reports where we actually get a call back from the providers in Phoenix who are looking at these images saying, this person needs to go to a retinal specialist as soon as possible. This person needs to go to a retinal specialist within a month. You know, so they're turning around interpretations of the results in a short time frame for us to be able to get the follow-up care that's needed.
Reporting in Winnebago, Nebraska, Taylor Decker, KTIV News 4.
A barrier that often keeps people from eye care screenings is the use of eye drops. Medical professionals add there are no drops for this type of screening, calling it a painless process. If you are interested in setting up a diabetes screening in Winnebago, you can contact the Public Health Department for more information. You can find that on KTIV.com.